What's up, everybody? Marion Cole here, joined today by JJ Donnelly. JJ, what's up?
How you doing, Marion? Long time no see.
I know it has been a minute. Today we are talking about something very sensitive and something that you feel very passionate about. JJ, you actually wrote a piece for USL's series called From the Pitch. It's a written series that is meant to amplify Black voices, Black coaches, Black players during this time, and it's regarding the Black Lives Matter movement. So there are 7 pieces that have been written so far. Yours was actually the second. So you're pretty passionate about this, and you have been really since the beginning of everything that has been going on. Your piece was titled, "What Does It Mean?" And you address the Black Lives Matter movement. You talk about what Black Lives Matter really means. And you say that it means equality. It talks about the inequality that you experience. And you have a certain snippet that I want to get your reaction to. When someone says all lives matter, what is your reaction to that?
It's very simple. Like, all lives do matter, but in this current climate, what's being affected the most is Black lives, and that's why I don't want people to get misconfused with thinking that we think that Black lives is the only thing that matters, when we understand that all races, all ethnicities, everyone matters. Do you know what I mean? We all bleed the same, so everyone matters. We just don't want people to think that what's going on is just another day, and people keep getting confused with us thinking it's just about us right now, and all this, like, it's like, no, we're trying to improve the future by emphasizing on Black Lives Matters right now, and that's the main thing.
Absolutely. And so for the people that haven't read this piece, in your own words, can you describe to me, for you, what Black Lives Matter means?
I'd say, like you said, equality and being treated like we are the same, not being pulled over or stopped or getting looked at just because you're in a different neighborhood where you probably shouldn't be, but you're just going to meet a friend, you know, like just little things like that. And just like me being able to look at the scenario from England and America, it gives me like a good understanding of how bad it really is. Because I know in high school and stuff in America, it's a lot worse. I agree, it's a lot worse than it is in the UK, and there's more deaths over here, but the more racial slurs are definitely in England, well, especially in London. You know, it's like a melting pot. There's a lot of different ethnicities. It's not just Black lives as well. There's a lot of Chinese people around there as well, and like I've seen the racism that's happened towards them as well. And it's just some of my piece. I just wanted to get out there that, like I said, all lives matter, but right now it's about Black lives, and I don't want people to get it confused and us thinking that white lives is not important, or Chinese lives aren't important, or Indian lives aren't important. It's just It's just what we're focusing on right now, what's happening in the community.
Yeah, and you ended yours with, you know, we don't necessarily want you or expect you to understand, but we want you to walk with us, and then we want you to stand tall. What was the 3 kind of 3-step call to action that you gave at the end?
Yeah, I said be heard, preach it, and I think I said stand tall, something like that. It's just like something I think that everyone should do. Like, don't be afraid to talk out about it. The only way people can empathize with you is if you show them your personal experiences. That's the way I've realized the most. Like, talking to my friends from back home who I grew up with my whole life. And after I made that one of them posts the other day, there's like, JJ, I didn't even know like he was going through this stuff. Like, I know we live like in England, and like it's different right now. But like, honestly, like one of my closest friends was like, I'm so sorry if like I've ever offended you. And like, he hasn't, because he's my close friend, he understands. But like, it just opened his eyes, and like everyone's sharing it back home because they can empathize with me and they care about me, so they know that this affects me, my family, and my friends. So like, if someone else opens up about it, then their friends will be like, oh, that's actually upset my friend. Maybe I should share it and try and make a difference. And that's the main thing. You just got to make it personal, and so people can understand your point of view.
Absolutely. And this whole series really that the USL has done has been very personal. And one of the pieces was actually written by Hartford Athletics head coach Roddy Jadi. I have no idea if I'm saying that right. I hope I am, if he's watching. but he wrote a piece where he said, I'm going to read it because I don't want to get it wrong. It says, I believe that soccer is founded on the relationship between supporters in the stands and players on the field, but there's a problem. He said, the problem is that far too often our support for one another is limited to the stadium itself. And in the face of injustice, I propose that we try our best to support one another as fervently in our personal environments as our shared ones. And I told you that I shared that piece with you because he intertwined how sports and how soccer specifically can play a role right now. And so I'm curious, JJ, how do you think soccer can be used to bring us all together?
I think the main thing you got to realize is when you look on even our team right now, Greenville Triumph, you look at the roster, you see how many different races, different ethnicities, where people are from, and then also then you look to the crowds and you look around and you see a bunch of different races and ethnicities. When they're in the stadium, they don't have a problem with it, I assume. You know, I'm not in the stand, but like I know from past experiences, like on the pitch as well, it doesn't happen. You know what I mean? You just play with your teammates and you back your guy behind you in front of you, and that's what you do. You're like a family. And when you like the Reedy River Riot, I'm sure they're all together. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure they're not going, oh, you can't come in our fan base because you're black or you're Asian or something. So the thing that we could learn from that is like if football means that much to you, then when you leave the pitch, treat others exactly how you would treat them if they was at the stadium or who's on the pitch. Like treat them as if they're your friends and you respect them for who they are, not just by the colour of their skin. And that's a big thing to take away. You shouldn't judge someone just by the colour of their skin or where they're from.
Sure, and he also, you know, he was a well-seasoned player and from Tunisia, I believe, and now he's a head coach. And he also said that there has been a silver lining in our strife. This is another quote from his piece. There has been silver lining in our strife. We've seen support mobilized in ways we have not witnessed before, and that's progress. We still have a very long, that was very emphasized, a very long way to go, but it is progress. Do you believe that we have made progress?
I mean, it's hard to say right now because we're still in the midst of things. It's about what happens, you know, after all the protesting and the so-called rioting calms down. And because I don't want this to happen and people just forget about it in a few months' time, which is what a lot of things have happened before. That's the main thing. I'm not encouraging rioting or anything like that. I think the protesting is good. And you see in Belgium today, they got rid of one of their statues who was an emperor who I think he killed over like 3,000 slaves, and the government released it today, took it down, the statue, and just little things like that. And in England as well, in Old India Quarry, they released one of the statues there who was involved in slavery as well. So like little things like that, it just encourages the movement. That's like, it's never happened before. Like we're saying, it's never really, the government's not really got involved in being like, okay, we need to take something about this. We need to do something about it. Like before, it's just been, okay, a little protest for a few weeks, and then it will die down, and then it's, yeah, you know what I mean, covering up the cracks and all that. So hopefully, but like I said, this is the biggest move I've seen since I've been around, and my parents have said the same. It's the biggest move they've seen. So I think we are making slight progress, but like you said, we can't see until the aftermath. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you hit on one of the biggest things that's happening right now, in my opinion, are just the conversations that are actually happening, and then the fact that it's okay to start talking about these things, and you make it personal, just like you did this piece, and suddenly it gets shared twice as many times as it would have if it weren't. And so just opening these communication channels, even doing an interview like this, I think is something that is making an impact, and will hopefully be something that, like you say, doesn't just go away, isn't just the black box on social media. It's something that can have long-standing impact and long-standing change. So I'm going to leave this last bit with you. Is there anything that you want to add, that you want to tell people about this movement, that you want to tell people about your experiences, about why you wrote this piece? Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
I just want to encourage more people to do their research, you know, look into what they don't know already, and just if you do the research and you see why we've been oppressed for so long and why we're actually standing up now, you'll realize that it's a good movement, it's a good cause, and it's something that I think if you go to a protest, you won't just see black people there. You'll see white people, you'll see Asians, Indians, you see everyone from all over the world. I know back home I've been looking at videos and it's been majority white people at these events. So, do you know what I mean? It's opened my eyes to be like, oh wow, people are actually understanding what's going on, and it's not just something that hopefully doesn't get pushed under the carpet. So I'm just encouraging more people to speak out, do their research, get involved in as much as you can. If you really want to, because a lot of people come to me, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do about the situation. Like, I support what's going on, but I don't physically know what to do. And I said, just speak out. Speak your opinion. Put your opinion online. Social media is the biggest platform ever nowadays. Like, everyone can see everything. So if you post it, something you say might hit someone personally more than something I say.
Sure.
So just keep speaking, keep spreading the word, and don't be afraid to open up.
Yeah, definitely. Well, JJ, thank you so much for chatting with me about this. Guys, if you haven't, and you're watching and you haven't read his piece, it is definitely worth a read. Go over to USL Championship site. All of the series pieces are on there, and they're all very eye-opening and put a lot into perspective. So JJ, thanks, and hopefully we will get back to playing on the field, and we'll stop doing these kind of Zoom interviews, and I can actually chat with you in between the lines.
Hopefully I can get a haircut as well, yeah.
Me too. Okay. See you, JJ.
Yeah.